realized that I was transgender, it took me a lot of reassurance, and it took me looking in the mirror and realizing, you know what, I was in, you don't look good as a guy. I think you need to switch roles or whatever. Boom shakalaka. Hi loves, welcome back to another video. My name is Alizaya and I'm your favorite black transsexual. Get up into the big part or whatever. I'm back. How y'all doing, girl? You already know what this black transsexual is having to do or whatever, girl. Boom shakalaka. I am back with some pre-recorded content, girl. Boom shakalaka. I know y'all might be like, girl, you was just in the same outfit the other videos. I'm not getting up to change my outfits, girl. These outfits is clean. Shut up, girl. Go get hit with a bag of bricks, girl. I ain't got time for that. Before we get into today's video, girl, I need you guys to like, comment, and subscribe because you guys see the title and you know what we're finna get into today, girl. I'm finna be sitting up here telling y'all how I realized I was transgender. And maybe I'm gonna try to give y'all a real breakdown on why and how I realized I'm transgender. But yeah, boom shakalaka, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on my side. So y'all, in 2019, I was a gay male. For a long time, I realized that I was battling with a lot of insecurities and I was battling with a lot of childhood trauma that needs to get dealt with. And I was the type of trans woman, not even trans woman, I was the type of person in general, because I wasn't trans at the time, right? But I was the type of person who always holded everything that I was feeling. And a lot of things that the universe was telling me was to just be myself, but I didn't understand what the universe was trying to tell me. I remember this one time, like, I used to always get, you know, in trouble back in the day or whatever, right? You know, when my mother used to get phone calls of me terrorizing teachers. You know, I remember one time I tried to, you know, sit over here and we're gonna imagine these were scissors. I did this to whatever, not a child. I did this to, like, you know, one of my classmates or whatever, right? And it was so much built up anger in me. Like, it was so much, you know, going wrong with me. And I remember, you know, old me was a very bubbly person. I was very bubbly. I was very excited to just live life and breathe air. But the older I got, the more I just started to resent life. I was the type of person who was very depressed. I'm not going to act like I wasn't depressed. I was very depressed. But at the same time of me being depressed, I had a lot of friends. You know, when you're a gay male or whatever, or when you're just a gay guy or just a guy in general, you get what I mean? I feel like it's very easy for you to make friends. Maybe for me, because I was very outgoing and I was very outspoken and I just didn't care about nobody rejecting me. Like, I was always an outgoing person, you get what I mean? But I do realize, like, you know, the older I got, the more, you know, every time I wanted to talk to my mother, it got harder for me to talk to my mother, because for me, I realized my mother is the type of person where she's the type of person to sit over here and say, I'm right, I'm gonna be right, you're wrong, that's it, that's all, and she would never listen to me. Same with my auntie. Like, my auntie, my granny, and my mama are the same way. They're the same person, just in 3 different forms, you get what I mean? And, like, I remember, like, I started to have battles with me, and I started to have a lot of, you know, built up trauma, a lot of built up anger and resentment when it came to my mother. When my mother in particular, like, you know, I was watching this one gay movie or what is one gay scene, right? And she was like, oh, that is so gay. Good thing you ain't turned out like that. And I was so taken aback. I was like, so what if I did turn out like that, right? And little did she know, I started to have a lot of homosexual feelings, and I started to realize, like, hey, you know, I kind of, you know, think I like guys, because I ended up stumbling across, you know, X-rated content per se, you know, very young. I started coming across that when I was, like, I say, like, we're gonna say this age or whatever, right? I came across it because I was going through, you know, her CDs or whatever, trying to find Friday or whatever, right? And I saw XXX or whatever, right? And so I put the XXX CD in there, right? Y'all, the light flashed before my eyes. I literally saw a white man, a white woman, boom shakalaka. It was giving Sexy Red's favorite place, girl, boom shakalaka. So after I discovered all that stuff and I realized I am attracted to guys, you get what I mean? I kept that a secret because throughout my family, a lot of my family would sit over here and, you know, talk about my other gay relatives. Like, I have this other gay cousin, you get what I mean? Trans man, you get what I mean? But they will always call her Christina, or they'll always call her by her dead name and just call her she or her and all that other stuff. What, you get what I mean? Like, I didn't understand what trans was, so that was the first instance of me ever understanding or trying to understand or even viewing trans. Like, that was my first trans encounter of a trans person, you get what I mean? So when I started to look at myself in the mirror, I'm gonna give y'all a clear vision of what I was looking at. I used to look like this. I used to look like a guy. I didn't present as a woman. I didn't even know that I could do things as a woman. I didn't even know I could live my life as a trans woman, you get what I mean? That wasn't in my thought pattern. I was just like a gay man. At the time, I wasn't even gay. I was a closeted gay person or whatever. But a lot of people knew I was gay. I just didn't know I was gay. You get what I mean? And so when I would go throughout school, a lot of people would tell me, are you a girl? Are you a guy? Are you a stud? Because a lot of studs would dress like me and stuff like that, even though, you know, it's just the same old boy clothes or whatever, right? But they thought I was a stud because I had a femme voice, but I was a guy or something like that, right? And you know, I used to love getting confused as a stud, even though the first time it got me, you know, a little ramped up because I'm like, you're comparing me to a woman. Like, girl, what is wrong with you? But women are beautiful, girl. Don't sit over here and think that women aren't beautiful. But it's like, you know, when I was getting confused as a stud, I was like, oh my God, baby, I'm giving fish. And I didn't even know what fish was. But I was like, oh my God, am I giving realness? Am I giving tea? Like, oh my God, do I look like a girl? Like, yes. And so I remember, you know, my homegirl, she told me she wanted to do my hair. I told this in my coming out story time about, you know, me, you know, getting introduced to the braids or whatever. When I got introduced to braids, that made me realize I love feminine things. I love being a feminine person. I love girly things. And so after that, that just woke me up and just opened my whole mind up to a whole lot of things. But I still wasn't out of the closet to my mother, and that was the hardest pill that I had to swallow. You know, and that was the biggest thing, that was the hardest thing that I've ever had to do, was come out to my mother. I came out to my auntie, but my auntie snitched on me and she told my mama that I was gay, and that's when me and my mama had a whole altercation about it. And it was just a whole lot of, but then I finally came out to her and I told her, like, Mom, you know, I'm gay. And to this day, I kind of regret the way that I took it and the way that I ran with my whole coming out story, because when I came out to her, it was very ghetto. I'm not going to act like it wasn't ghetto. When I came out to her, she sat over here and she said, I don't approve of this. Maybe you're bisexual. And it hurt my feelings because, you know, at the time, my mother only knew that, you know, it's man and woman, not man and man, woman and woman. Like, you know, she didn't want that in her household. And for me, I didn't understand why my mama was that way. But I got to understand that my mama wasn't raised in a time where being gay is acceptable. Being gay is, you know, the new norm. Being gay is you being you. My mama was raised in a time where even blacks weren't even, you know, sitting next to whites, where blacks were in their own restroom, were in the back of the bus, where blacks were sitting over here still picking that stuff or whatever, right? Like, my mama, like, when she died, she was 55. Oh, she was actually 54 years old. I still got her picture right here or whatever, right? But she died February 25th of 2022. But she died when she was 54 years old. At her time, my granny is like 80 years old now. And then at her time, my great grandmother lived to 122 years old. My family is old, like they're old heads. And in their time, being gay and all that stuff is seen as less than. And especially if you're bringing that back into your household, they're always going to get talked about in their household. They're always going to get talked about in the world or whatever. I don't know what the hell I'm trying to say. Just keep up, bitch. But after I came out to her, like, I literally threw a fit. I remember, you know, I trashed the whole place. I trashed the whole apartment. I was over it. Like, I was just like, the world is crumbling. Like, I don't know why I did this. Like, I have horrible anger issues, and I'm so glad I'm working on my anger issues. Still got a lot of improvement to do, but I'm better than what I was before. But, like, pertaining to that, I remember, like, I left the house or whatever, and, you know, my mama came home and she was like, I left her a note. I was like, I don't understand how you don't love me and this and that. And I was telling her, like, basically how I felt. This is why I be telling y'all, if you're trying to come out to your parents, maybe you coming out and writing a letter to your parents is better than you face-to-face coming out, because you never know how they're going to react. But I wrote a letter to her and I was like, I don't understand how you can't sit over here and, you know, love me for me. Like, you're supposed to be my mother. You told me that being gay is okay. You told me that me being myself is okay. So I don't understand why you don't love me. And the biggest thing that I was trying to get across is, how can you love me when you don't understand me? Like, just try to understand me as a human being. I'm your child, for goodness sake. And I feel like I couldn't truly be my authentic self. I will always hide myself when I'm around my mother. I will always hide myself when I'm around certain people, and I can never truly express myself the way I've always wanted to. And I've always felt like I had to just sit over here and fake smile, even though I was dying inside. A lot of people act like trans people aren't human beings, and a lot of people act like gay people aren't human beings, and that they just suddenly just did this stuff. No, I've always felt this way. I just didn't know how to express it. And when I was around my family, I truly felt like I couldn't express myself the way I wanted to express myself, because a lot of people will point out this about me, point out that about me, and it made me feel so insecure about myself. I used to be a very insecure individual, and now I'm not insecure because now I don't care about what anybody thinks. I used to hate myself. Every time I would walk outside, or every time I would sit over here and be around certain people, I will always feel like the ugly duckling. I will always feel like the black sheep of any friend group, any situation, because I've always felt different, and I realize I'm different, and I accept that I'm different. You think I want to be trans? No, this is just who I am. And it took me a long time to get this way. Like, it took me a long time to get this, strength. It's hard being trans. It's hard being gay. You have to constantly fight your battles, and that's what I was trying to get across to my mother, and it hurt me. It still hurts me to this day, and it makes me tear up sometimes, because it's like, I truly feel like I can't fully express myself around certain people who I truly love, because I know they'll demonize it, and I know they'll crucify me for it, and it hurts so much. And that's why it was so hard for me to express that I'm transgender to people. So I ended up leaving or whatever, right? And so she was trying to find me or whatever. She ended up doing a police report or whatever, right? But then I ended up getting this text message that I'm try to find right here, girl. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So this is what she said. She said, "I really love you, Isaiah. I don't understand why you think I don't, but I'm hurt the way that you did things and the way that you talk about me and to me." Then I said, "I'm good and I'm just trying so hard. I'm sorry for those words," which I always say apologize. Like, I always apologize to people when I really mean it. You get what I mean? And then she said, "I always will love you." Oh, Lord, let me turn it off. What's the girl? It's sad. Like, it's sad. But getting back on track, because I don't want to get emotional here. I think being emotional is ghetto, so let's just, exit out of that. So I realized the more I got into my journey of becoming Alizea, I was going and experiencing so many things. I say this a lot. When you experience some bad things in your life, those bad things are supposed to shape you into the person that you needed to be, or that God is trying to show you that you need to be. You get what I mean? When I got kidnapped off of that Grindr story time, it wasn't the end of the world. I'm still alive. It taught me that I don't need to sit over here and be on those nasty dating apps and trusting guys and sitting over here thinking with my princess wand. I need to think with common sense. And then, sitting over here, tricking guys, it made me realize I shouldn't trick guys, because I could easily get taken off this planet. Then when I realized, I had so many falling outs from my old best friends, it made me realize I shouldn't trust people. It made me realize I don't need to tell all of my homegirls my business. This is why I advocate to my trans women or my mutuals, don't be telling these females and don't be telling these biological women your business, because they're not all kudos. They're not all, tight with you. A lot of them will snake you the minute they get a chance. And then now your business as a trans woman is all over the internet, all over the city. Now you're known as the, exposing trans woman. You don't want to be known as that. Keep your business to yourself. Keep you and your trade between you and yourself. You don't need to tell your homegirls your business. Even if they're telling you your business, you don't tell them your business. And there were a lot of things like that taught me that, this is teaching me something that I needed to learn. And I started to discover Choice TV. He was the biggest advocate for my trans journey. Like, I know a lot of people might be like, Choice TV talks about trans women. He says this and says that. Y'all don't understand. I'm a very, open-minded trans woman. I don't care what he says. I listen to everybody. I listen for what everybody has to say, right? And it was this one thing that he always says that I always repeat to y'all. Everybody has the same 24 hours as Beyonce, so why waste your time?
And one thing I really hate about people who always use depression as their, cop out for why they won't achieve or won't try to achieve something is they always say things such as, well, that's just not easy. It's not easy. Who the said it was going to be easy? Did I say it was going to be easy? Clearly it's not going to be easy. Get your fucking up and go try to do something. At least make an effort. And again, it's going to rub people the wrong way. we have the same 24 hours as Beyonce. And here some of y'all go, oh, well, no, we don't. We don't have the same 24 hours as Beyonce. Beyonce has nannies and chefs, and she has this and she has that. Listen, we don't have the same resources as Beyonce, because I damn sure don't got the same shit as Beyonce. You know, I'm doing, you know, a lot of us are doing okay, but we're not doing what Beyonce is doing, clearly. The issue is, people don't realize that when I say we have the same time as Beyonce, we really do, because there's 24 hours in a day, and it's really all about what you do with those 24 hours. A lot of times, a lot of y'all will sit up here and say things such as, oh, well, I can't do it because I don't have time because I work a lot. When you get home around, 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, what are you doing with that time? Probably sleeping, right? But what are you also doing before you go to sleep? Probably showering and then getting your ass in bed and probably scrolling through social media until you fall asleep. And then when your off days come, what are you doing on your off days? Probably doing a little bit more sleeping. But what happens when you wake up after your nap? You got like a whole bunch of hours in the day, and then you're probably just scrolling social media, watching some dumb TV show that is just like rotting your brain, and then complaining about why your life isn't the way you want it to go. If there's something you always wanted to do, you might as well go for it and do it anyways, even if you fail.
But it was like, it just told me I need to stop wasting my time and I need to do what makes me happy. And I realized I wasn't feeling happy sitting over here, you know, appeasing everybody else and sitting over here, you know, dressing like a man. I didn't want to be a man. I never wanted to be a man. And when I looked at myself in the mirror, I was like, oh my God, I hate the way my jaw looks. I hate the way my face looks. I hate the way my body looks. I hate the way that I'm just so manly. Like, I hate being a man. And even to this day, I hate being a man, even though I embrace that I'm born a man, even though I embrace that, you know, sometimes I look like a man. I don't have Beyonce money, okay? I always repeat this. I don't have Beyonce coins. I don't have Beyonce funds. So if it gets man, it gets man. And that's something that as a trans woman, I've had to accept in my trans journey. What made me for real realize that I was trans is that I was stumbling across all these other trans women in my city. And I was like, you know what? I align with this type of stuff. A lot of these trans women are living their life fluidly. Like, they're living their life just, you know, so freely, and it's just so inspiring. I always been inspired of people just doing what makes them happy. I've always wanted to do what makes me happy, y'all. And it's hard. I'm not gonna act like it was easy. It was the hardest journey I've ever had to deal with. But after I realized I don't care anymore, and I don't care what people thought about me, because I realized time is so short and you don't realize when you're gonna die. You get what I mean? And I realized, why am I sitting over here holding myself back when I can just do it now? You get what I mean? I can live my life and be me, who I truly am now. So I started to dress differently. You know, I started to, you know, try to do different makeup. It was horrible. You know, I tried to do different hairstyles, even though I did not go outside like that, girl. Don't think that I went outside like that. But I was doing so many experimental things, and I was just trying to be me. I was just trying to find who Alizea was. And I realized, you know, the more I was being myself, the more a lot of people despised me, and a lot of people didn't understand me. I was always the outcast. I was always the black sheep of the group. I was always the, you know, crazy person in school. A lot of people were like, this crazy person wants to be a girl so bad, even though I just wanted to be me so bad. I was trying to find me. I wasn't trying to people please. I was trying to go beyond people please. I was trying to find out who Alizea was and what Alizea truly wanted in life. And the biggest thing I've noticed throughout my whole transition, I realized a lot of people will sit over here and tell you that you don't need to be transitioning, tell you that you're going down the wrong path, but those same people will sit over here and congratulate you when you finally look 10 toes down. I said this before and I said this again. You don't need to people please in life. You need to do exactly what makes you happy. And I realized I really opened doors for a lot of people without me even realizing it. When I used to go into school and I used to sit over here and be myself, a lot of people and a lot of guys will run away from me, will talk about me. A lot of people will giggle and laugh and be like, hee hee, ha ha, that's a man, that's a man. And then, what do you know? Boom shakalaka, I'm famous on TikTok. Now everybody like, oh my God, girl, let me get a shout out. Do you do shout outs? Let's collab. Da, 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 da. It's like, girl, you was just pooping on me. Like, literally, you was just talking about me. It's so crazy. And the more I got into my transition, the more I started to experiment with wigs. And that was the biggest thing that I was trying to learn, what suited me more. And I realized I love me some box braids, but after I decided to finally pop out, and you know, after my mother died of like 2021, I came out in 2021 as trans, and I got this tattoo, you know, get up into the tattoo. It's a flower with a rose. It's a rose with a butterfly, and it says 2021 right here. But yeah, like, I don't know if I can insert the picture right here to show you a better picture of it. But like after that, like I realized this is forever. Like I'm not going back. A lot of people tell me that I'm going to detransition because I'm not on hormones yet. When I first came out as trans, it was the hardest thing to get on hormones because I had to go through, I think it's like 5 or 6 months of therapy. And even then, like, you know, my mother was still hesitant to get me on those hormones. But when she finally did, I gave her the fattest hug. And I told her, like, you're really helping me in my trans journey. Like, you're really making me happy. Then we was giggling, talking about, you know, how I'm the daughter that, you know, she always wanted and all that extra stuff or whatever, right? But then, like I always said, after she died, that's what really made me lock in on why I need to keep going with my transition. How do I say this the nicest way possible? I'm not the type of trans woman that wants to transition for looks, wants to transition to get male validation and get the male gaze on me. I'm not the type of trans woman that wants to be famous for being trans. I want to be famous because I impact people's lives and I make people inspired to do exactly what they want to do. I didn't transition to sit over here and, you know, get guys on me and to sit over here and look the most beautiful. I transitioned to make myself feel comfortable. I realized I want to be myself and I want to just do what makes me happy. I'm Alizea. I'm black and I'm trans and I'm beautiful and I love my black beautiful self. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care if you don't respect me. I don't care if you don't understand my trans journey. This trans journey of mine is not for you to understand. It's for me to understand. I know who I am. I'm Alizea and I'm always going to be Alizea. I'm not going anywhere. If it took me years to sit over here and come out to my mother and for her to finally understand me, if it took me years to sit over here and, you know, fight through school and getting yelled at and getting slurs thrown at me and sitting over here getting, you know, thrown against lockers and boys telling me that I'm a man and people sitting over here laughing at me and staff not defending me and nobody sitting over here rooting for me, if it took me years to sit over here trying to find my trans identity and you think I'm gonna back down just because you don't like me, you could go eat a bag of bricks. That's how I feel, and I truly feel that way. I never wanted to do anything that everybody else is telling me to do. I always go beyond somebody else. I always do what makes me happy. I always trust my instinct in life. I always said this. You need to trust your instinct. You need to do what makes you happy. I know this video is all over the place and this video is long, but I always say that. Do what makes you happy because you only get one life. I could have sat over here and just gave up. Like, when I was in first grade, I didn't know what I was. When I was in fifth grade, I didn't know who I was. When I was sitting over here going to this church, I didn't know who I was. But when I finally just said, forget it, when I listened to my mother and she said, just be who you are, she didn't realize that opened the door. That opened the door for everything. She said, be who you are. And that's exactly what made Alizea. That's when I realized I think I'm going to be transgender. And I think I'm going to continue my transition. I really could have gave up on my trans journey when she died. But, you know, I realized this isn't just for her and this isn't just for me. This is beyond me now. I had to influence a lot of people's lives. I had to influence a lot of people to keep going. I get, you know, sometimes I beat myself up on not having hormones, but I realized right now my main goal is to make sure that I'm an adult and make sure that I'm mentally prepared for those hormones. I don't have the funds to get on those hormones yet. I don't have the right, you know, president in office for those hormones yet. I got to realize that Alizea, as long as you're impacting people's lives and as long as you're influencing people to love themselves, I think you're completing your transition. I think you're still going good. And you look very much beautiful while you're transitioning. I don't beat myself up that I don't have hormones because I can't control it. I don't have Beyonce money. I don't have Beyonce funds. And I sure don't have that Beyonce healthcare, girl. I'm broken, I'm black, and I'm trans, okay? This ain't nothing new, girl. I don't know what y'all thought this was, but boom, shakalaka, bada bing, bada boom. But I said this before. I don't want to dim my light, and I realize I don't need to dim my light to appease everybody else. A lot of people are always going to judge you. A lot of people are going to tell you that you need to stop screaming, that you need to stop being so loud, that you need to stop dressing this certain way. A lot of people and a lot of my family tell me that I don't need to be wearing this jewelry, that I don't need to sit over here and wear these butterflies because it's kiddish. I'm acting like a child. This makes me feel beautiful. When I go outside, do you have kids and people sitting over here taking pictures of you? Do you go into work having people sitting over here talking about boom shakalaka? No, you don't. You're not me. I step in a room and I make noise. I don't have to sit over here and talk to make noise. I just simply do what I do, and I do it expeditiously, however I say that ghetto word, but I do it flamboyantly, and I just live my life for me, and I don't care how nobody feels, and it always rubs off on people. What I do rubs off on people, and I realize that. I realize when you don't sit over here and people please, and when you don't sit over here and care about what people think about you, it just rubs off for everybody, and everybody realize this is a star. She's a star, he's a star, whatever you is, you's a star, and you're destined to sit over here and get everything you want. I say all this to say that you only live once in life, and it's your journey. It's nobody else's journey. A lot of people will peer pressure you into telling you that you should do this, that you should transition medically, that you need to get on those hormones, that you need to start dressing like a woman, that you need to start dressing like a man, that you need to do this, that you need to do that. Don't live for everybody else. Do what makes you comfortable. Do what makes you happy. I only live once, and I don't know when I'm going to die, but I'm going to live my life before I die, because this is my life, and nobody else is walking my path. I love every bit of me. I wouldn't want to change anything about me. I love myself, and I love that I get to inspire people just by me being me. That's what makes me me, and that's what makes me Alizea. It took me a long time to understand who Alizea is, but I understand Alizea, and I wish Alizea well. I always say this, and I will always say this. Everybody has the same 24 hours as Beyonce. You don't have the same resources as Beyonce. You might not have the same money as Beyonce. You might not have the same tax bracket. You might not have the same talent as Beyonce. But Beyonce is a human being, and you're a human being. And Beyonce is going to do exactly what she wants, and she's going to get what she wants, and she's going to move how she wants. She's going to do what she wants, and you can do whatever you want too. Because you know what? We're all human beings at the end of the day, okay? Stop wasting your time and stop letting everybody sit over here and tell you what to do with your life. You know who you are. I don't care if nobody will sit over here and respect me and respect my transition. You can go eat a bag of bricks at the end of the day, okay? I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, girl. It was just very ghetto. It was very weird. It was very wonky. But yeah, I just needed to get this video out the way, girl, because I'm going to be sick. You know, I'm sick right now, and I got to record some more videos. But I love you guys. Boom shakalaka. Bye, loves.